Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Women's Fittest. I'm super excited to have your reigning Miss Fitness Olympia champion 2021, Whitney Jones, here with me today. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm excited to be on the podcast. So, it's always a fun time. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this.
Yeah, I know we were trying to get this going for a little bit, and I'm just so glad that it finally worked out.
Yes, I know. My schedule lately has just been absolutely ridiculous with post Olympia, and then I'm a single mom with 2 kids. I own a few businesses, so it's been crazy, but all good things. So I'm so happy that you were flexible with me.
That's awesome. Well, I'm excited to hear about all of those things, but usually when I start the podcast, I know that you've been doing this for a long time, and I'm so curious what got you started. So backtrack as far as you want to go, as far as like athletics when you were in school, and then what got you into bodybuilding.
Well, gosh. So yeah, growing up, I was in any sport my parents would let me get into. I grew up with 2 older brothers. So I was legit a tomboy and just wanted to be like my older brothers. They both played football. And it was like when I was little, I'd dress up in their football gear, and I didn't realize that girls couldn't play football. So it was devastating. So I'm like, well, I got to play everything. So literally growing up, I loved it because I did. I got to try so many different aspects of the sports, just loved being active. So it's always been part of me. Fast forward into adulthood, it was like, okay, so you graduate college, you start your real life, and it's like I still needed that active component. So I actually got into stuff that was like the endurance side of stuff, the triathlons and marathons, was doing that. And it was like, this is awesome. It's going to get me in shape and be fit. Well, for me, I just got skinny fat, and I'm like, where's these tight toned bodies I see?
Yeah.
That's kind of where I started discovering the sport of like fitness and lifting and bodybuilding. I've always kind of gone into the gym and lifted. I worked at a gym, in high school and college. So I was familiar with it, but I got so turned off because it became like a meat market. And it was like, oh, I don't like this. So I like got away from the gym and then would just start doing endurance stuff. But like I said, it wasn't creating the physique I was wanting, especially with working so hard towards something. I'd see in the magazines and I'm like, I just like that different body type. That's what, got me involved with learning about the sport of bodybuilding technically. And, the thing was that fear of, I'm like, I don't want to be a bodybuilder, but I wanted to maybe do bikini or figure. So that's kind of where I started. Tried it. Obviously, bikini, I have these horribly ugly veins that I've had since I was in junior high. And that's not the look for bikini. You cannot be vascular and veiny. So that was off the table. And I didn't know about the fitness division. So I'm like, well, I'm going to prep. I'm going to do figure. So at my first show, I saw these girls warming up and in costumes. And I was like, oh my gosh, how fun. What are they doing? They look like they're having a blast. That's how I learned about the fitness division. And I have no formal background I have no gymnastics training. I did dance in college. I made ASU dance team, but I have no formal training in dance or anything. So it was a total challenge in a way. But for me, I didn't know what the fitness division was about. I didn't know there were mandatories. I didn't know there were requirements. So honestly, I had no expectations. And I did my first fitness show and did everything wrong, but I had a blast and I was like hooked. I'm like, this is so fun. You get to be creative. You can truly come up with whatever skills you wanted. And I loved that challenge. So it was like, okay, just from back in my days of being a daredevil, and I did cheer in high school. So we had to tumble. We had no coaches to teach us. But I've always kind of had that no fear mentality. So I learned to tumble on my own, just like, all right, throw it back tuck. Hopefully you land it. There's just so many stories growing up of just being like, just try it. So I love the aspect of fitness that it wasn't technical, where my technique, my form is not correct. It's not like if a gymnastics judge judged me, my techniques are all wrong. But in fitness, they don't care. It's entertainment. And if you do a flip, great, just land it. However you do it, it's fine. Just try to land it. So I just was hooked. And then obviously, as my early years in the fitness division came about, I started learning, there's certain requirements and mandatories and how to shape a routine. What is it the judges like? Music is important. And then I just started the challenge of, all right, I got to level up. If I want to really do well, I need to learn some crazy skills. That's how I got into it. And the fitness division, just because of how fun it is and having that creative outlet, that's what hooked me. And here I am still today.
That's amazing. So I have two questions. One, what would you say to women who are running into this? I mean, that really resonated with me when you said the gym was like a meat market. Maybe psychologically, you're like, I don't want to be here, but you realized you had to go back to that in order for you to obtain the physique that you wanted. So is it kind of like you got to suck it up, or how do you handle it? Because I was involved in a gym that it shut down right before COVID, and it was very much just that sort of atmosphere. And I loved that gym, and I loved working out that gym, and I honestly miss that gym. But it was like every day you're like, okay, I gotta, I don't know, psych myself up extra mentally to go there. And I think a lot of women have this different fears about going into the gym. What would you say?
Sure.
They're looking for that physique?
It's a big thing that a lot of clients say. And I own a gym here in Arizona. And that's one thing, is we really try to make sure everyone feels welcome. No one's intimidated. There's just not awkwardness or weirdness going on. But that's my environment here, and that's my gym. But I also have memberships at other gyms too, and I get it and I see it. The biggest thing for me personally was when I was just going to the gym before, I was just going to just kind of get exercise. There was no specific goal when I was doing it in my earlier years. So once I decided to get into this sport, I had a goal. I knew what I needed to get done. So it was a different mindset for me versus just kind of lollygagging, being like, I'm going to go to the gym today. I don't really know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to work out. So I think how you go into it kind of determines, are you going to be efficient? Are you going to be able to focus? Are you dedicated? What are your goals? What's going on? So that, I think, is a big part of kind of almost setting the vibe.
Yes.
And it changed things. But if I'm the girl in the gym who's just constantly like, you're almost open to being like, okay, so she's not a serious person. She's not focused. I could go chit chat with her. Whereas now when I go into the gym, headphones on, head down, no one really messes with me. I get in, I get out. I don't have time to waste. I've obviously become more bold enough to say, gosh, I'm so sorry. I wish I had time to chit chat, but I got to pick up my boys in 20 minutes and I got to finish this workout. So it's a different mindset for me personally. And obviously, if you've done all the right things and you still can't escape from that, you probably do got to find another gym, because you want to still, just to say you're focused and you're intense and you're goal oriented doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but you do want to feel comfortable in your own environment without doubt.
Yeah. I think once you get into it a little bit more, and like you said, you have a plan, then you are a little bit more focused and you might have more confidence to be able to say, I'm not here to talk right now. And if you are, because I know people are looking to meet somebody in that same environment, because this is someone who's also health conscious or working on their physique, and that might be a partner somebody is looking for, but saying maybe after I'm done working out. You obviously never want to get interrupted while you're training.
Right. But it happens. It happens all the time. It's like everybody everywhere, whether it's someone being rude and being like, oh, you need to move. People are just it's a nonstop thing.
Yeah. My second question was, what year was that you first stepped on stage for bikini, and then, and then you did your first fitness? When was that?
So it was figure that I did first. Yeah, because I would never work in bikini.
The veins, right.
Yes. So that was in 2010.
Okay.
And then 2011 was when I started in the fitness. So I did the summer of 2010.
Yeah.
And then after that show is when I learned about fitness. And I ended up getting my pro card almost a year to the day in 2011.
That's so crazy.
So, which in reality, I always say that because I was very, very lucky. A lot of times trying to get your pro card in a year is very rare. And I always try to kind of give that disclaimer, like, you got to have realistic expectations. And in all honesty, I didn't think I was going to get my pro card that year either. I was just going out there to do my best version of me. And it worked out. And it was like, oh my gosh, now I'm a pro. What do I do now?
So when you did your first show, what was that prep like? Did you have a coach at the time, or, what did you?
I had a coach. Yeah. Not in the fitness realm. So I did have a coach who helped me kind of with diet and workouts, but, and he's the same coach I've had my entire like fitness career, but he has zero clue on fitness, routine, music, skill, nothing. So he just guided me that way. And like I said, I didn't really know there was requirements. I knew your song couldn't be over 2 minutes. And so I just put together this cattywampus routine and went out there and was just having a blast. Now, I will say I won, and I won the overall. I was the only athlete in the show for fitness. So I had, again, no one to compare another routine to. But obviously at that show, I then got feedback and the judges were saying, hey, it was good. They couldn't give me second because there was no one who could beat me that showed up. It was a small show, but they gave me the guidelines like, hey, like if you really want to continue this, go to NPC News Online. There's criteria for judging and kind of guidance. And then I really started diving into, looking on YouTube, social media, the internet on a fitness routine, what makes a good fitness routine. And so that's kind of where it got started. But yeah, I was absolutely totally clueless.
I want to share a disclaimer that a lot of people, I think like the fitness division is kind of I don't want to say overlooked, but I think people don't pick it all the time because of the element of difficulty that comes from doing that routine. Because anyone who's ever competed knows how completely awful you feel, especially the last 4 to 6 weeks of prep. So to try to have the energy to like literally fight for your life for 2 minutes it's insane, to no offense,
Yeah.
but it's crazy. So, you might have less, like you said, people competing to earn your pro card, but the degree of difficulty for what you are doing is far beyond just, competing for a bodybuilding competition, which is very difficult in itself. So,
right. And that's the thing too, is like back in the day when the industry first started, the only thing they had was bodybuilding and fitness. Those were the two divisions. Obviously, with the years, all these divisions have been added. So people always ask, gosh, there's not a lot of fitness athletes out there, compared to the other divisions. And it's like, I know, but guess what? Like back in the day, or they say the numbers have gone down. Of course they've gone down. When that was the only division and fitness was it, that's what people would do. Well, when they introduced figure, bikini, now women's physique, all these different divisions, wellness, anyone that was doing fitness, but then realized maybe they sustained an injury, or they're like, this is hard and it requires more hours than any other division's prep typically, because you've got to do all the stuff that a normal prep includes, your fasted cardio or post-workout cardio, your training every day and lifting. You then have to do flexibility training, routine practice, skills training, recovery. I mean, all of those are daily things that as a fitness athlete you have to do. So when people have other options, they're like, oh, I could do figure or I could do bikini. Instead, they jump ship and change divisions, which granted, it's not for everybody. It is absolutely difficult. And you have to, I always say to clients, if you have that love of performing and enjoy that, then you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
But if you don't, then it's going to be difficult, because there's going to be plenty of hard days during prep where, like you said, you are just tired. Your body is, as you get leaner, everything aches. So when you're doing these plyo push-ups and jumps and you're just slamming your body into the ground, I mean, it hurts. So you've got to love it to be able to stick through to get to the end.
Have you sustained any major injuries throughout this career?
Oh gosh, yes. That's probably the biggest thing I'm known for, honestly. I have broken almost every bone in my body. I've had 16 surgeries. My worst injury, I broke my neck 3 years ago, and that was by far the worst. It was career ending.
How did that happen?
Well, so I do breakdancing and b-boy stuff in my routines, because again, why not? When I was getting into this, I'm like, I've never seen any girl on the fitness stage do breakdancing. Why don't I try it? And it was so hard that I loved it, because I'm like, this is ridiculously difficult. So I would start learning some of the stuff, you know, the swipes, back spins, all sorts of like b-boy techniques and kicks. And one of the skills was a head spin. So I was working on my routine for the Arnold Classic, and I had this head spin down. It was so awesome. Now, granted, it was horrible for my hair, because I was getting bald spots in my hair, but I know, horrible. But it looked so amazing. Like, it was so cool, but I wanted to go faster. So I went home one day, got my snowboard helmet, went back, and was on carpet to make me spin faster. So it was working, but you don't always nail everything perfectly. And there was one time I was doing it, and my rotations and the speed was legit, but I flipped out of it too early, and it just tweaked my neck really bad. But it's weird with a broken neck, with the injury I sustained, it was all nerve damage. So I instantly had pain in the shoulder. Well, I'd had shoulder surgery. I tore my rotator cuff a year earlier, and the shoulder pain had always kind of been there. So I was like, man, I just kinked my shoulder. So I didn't think of anything being too crazy. Went home, did work, and then had my routine practice later that afternoon. And that was, I was doing a new flip, and it's this one-footed gainer flip. Again, you don't land them all the time. So that afternoon, I had a few bad face plants, which just added to the neck injury. So by end of that night, like, I was getting tingling in my hand, no indication or clue it was even my neck. So long story short, I ended up having the numbness all day. Then my arm turned into being completely non-functional. It was limp and stood like by my side. So I obviously got an MRI and found out, they're like, you've been walking around, you have a broken neck. And it was like, oh my gosh. Well, no wonder it hurts so bad. I mean, I couldn't sleep. It was horrible. It was the most pain I've ever been in my entire life. Nerve pain is no joke. It mentally can cripple you. Like, it's horrible. So they ended up, I had to have a double fusion. So I have a double fusion, a 12-piece metal cage in my neck. So it's this 12-piece cage that I had to use to put my neck back together. But I recovered from that, and I actually won my first world championship title post breaking my neck.
Yeah. 2018, right? You won.
Yeah. Yep. So that's what's so crazy is, during that time, you know, obviously I've sustained a lot of injuries. Now this one was horrible. And once it got out, everyone's like, oh, Whitney's done. You know, she had a great career. And I would see these things, and it was like, who said I was done? Like, in my mind, I was like, it's just another injury, because I did not want to believe that it would be that bad. Going into the surgery, you know, they said it's a 50-50 shot. You may never regain use of your arm. And it's like, okay, well, you know, you got to try.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you what, it was like, it was so devastating those days and weeks before surgery, trying to find online any glimmer of hope for somebody who had sustained the neck injury that I had. Honestly, I didn't find even one glimmer of hope that my life could ever even be normal. It was devastating and depressing. And I'm like, there is no way that this just sidelines everyone and life is over. So I'm like, okay, my goal needs to be, I didn't know if I'd ever compete again. And that, my biggest thing was a mom. I wanted my arm back so I could hug my boys, so I could throw a football, just be normal. Like, I wasn't so worried about competing. I just needed my arm back. And honestly, it was like, I said, I need to be that glimmer of hope for the next person who sustains an injury and they're looking online to say, am I going to be okay? And I said, I've got to get my story out there. I need to make sure I recover and get my story out there so that there are people who go, oh, this sucks. We're going to ride this and it's not going to be fun, but it's going to be okay. And so for me, that was one of my biggest goals coming back from the surgery, to say, you guys all counted me out as a person, like I can't do these things. And then I thought, no, I'm going to step back on stage. I didn't know in what capacity. I never in a million years thought I would be able to come back better. And that's just me being honest. But I still wanted to be able to represent and go, I'm getting back on stage just to show I can do it. Even if it was completely a mediocre Whitney, I was fine with that. I just wanted that story. And I think that drive and the ambition and the passion is what propelled me to truly level up to where I'd never won a world championship title before that. And now I was like, whoa, okay. So it was awesome, because then having that title, it opened up a platform to tell the world. And it's been awesome the way I hear from people who have sustained injuries, not even a neck, it could be an ankle or whatever, but how it's given them hope and said, okay, well, crap, I can do this. There is an opportunity to overcome. And that's what I'm most grateful for.
So beautiful, the resiliency. I think, this is what I love about these personal interviews with the podcast, because everybody has a story of some kind of something that they've overcome. And you athletes are doing, incredible things. You're elite, following your dreams. And to me, it's like, it's not just about overcoming, but it's succeeding and being so great at something despite anything happening, or these huge obstacles getting in your way. It's just the coolest. It's just the coolest.
Well, thanks. I mean, the thing is, we have one life to live. And so I just feel like no matter what in life, you're handed a lot of lemons, right? But you've got to find a way to make the best of it and use it as an opportunity to kind of help others, inspire others. We get to choose how we dictate our lives and how we react to whatever's thrown our way. But sometimes it is hard to remember that. And it's great to have these stories, because maybe someone right now who's listening to this podcast is kind of in a rut and like, just kind of, I don't know how to get out of it or what. But a lot of times when you realize it could be worse, it helps you kind of step out of that dark hole and go, all right, okay, it could be worse and it's not. So let me show some gratitude and let me make the most of my current situation.
Yeah. Yeah. And anytime someone overcomes something, you're telling other people, regardless of what it is, that you can overcome. And it's just, you can't hear that enough, especially in this day and age, more positive stories like this. So
sure. Yeah.
So what do your boys think about you? You're not the average mom, right? How old are your kids?
So my boys now, they're 13 and 15. So they are so fun, such fun ages. So my oldest is in high school. He's a sophomore, which is so crazy. And then my youngest, my 13-year-old Jake, he's in 7th grade. So he's in middle school. And they are busy. They both play football and baseball. So they're into sports. And obviously they were little when I started this. So they've grown up, seeing what I do. And they go to the big shows. they love it. And at first they didn't really get it. And obviously they were little, but as they kind of came to, they're like, what are you doing? You're on stage and you wear these weird, colorful costumes. But as they got a little older, it was interesting to see as a mom how they picked up on things. For example, I get up every morning and I do some fasted cardio, and then I get them up and fed and ready, go to school. So just this discipline of them seeing me do this, certain days of the week, they started realizing, stuff takes hard work, and it's not just I have a goal and I'm going to work hard for 2 months. It's a year-round thing. And then the times that I put into my routine practice, and they started to get an appreciation for what it's like to be an athlete when you have a goal, and how to push and how to overcome your hard days or your bad days or your tired days. And there have been so many moments through the years where they would reference certain things like, I didn't want to go to the practice today because I'm so tired from football last night, but I know you would still get in your workouts even though you were tired or sick. And it's like, as a mom, that's the greatest compliment. So it's been neat to see that. And then I'll be honest, my boys help me with my routines, with choreographing it, because I do it myself. And there'll be some like crazy hard skill that I'll work months on, and I finally nail it. And I'll bring the video home and I'm like, okay, guys, I've got what I can't wait to show you. And I'll show them that, and then a few combos, and they'll always be like, oh, yeah, it's okay. And I'm like, what? That's like such a cool skill. But if you think about it, it's not a gymnastics routine. The judges don't know degree of difficulty on a lot of stuff either. So what they, as children, like to see is fun, explosiveness, powerful, just crazy stuff. So they would start going, ooh, I like that. And I like that. And I'm like, that's easy. And they're like, that's the coolest thing I've seen you do today. And it's like, okay. So I would craft my routines and choreograph my stuff based on stuff they liked. And it's worked well because, again, it's about entertainment.
Yes.
And so something that I may think is really cool because it's hard and I finally nailed it doesn't mean it's perfect and doesn't mean it needs to be used. So they help a lot. They help with music selection. So, and now now that they're older, they love to be able to kind of be like, yeah, my mom is like, she does really well in this sport and she kind of has a name, and it's pretty cute. Like it's fun. They've been in situations where we're in public and people ask for my autograph and they think I'm this major celebrity. And I'm like, no, not quite. The person just probably follows the sport and is a fan. So yeah, but it's neat. They love it. And if they ever didn't, in all honesty, I wouldn't be where I'm at because they are my biggest priority. Being a mom is my biggest role, but they love it and support it. So I'm very, very fortunate for that.
I love that. I just love that. So, what do you think contributed to making you this type of driven person? I know you had mentioned having 2 older brothers. That's relatable. I have 2 older brothers as well.
Oh yeah. Yep.
You
get
it. And I grew up on a farm, so I get it, like the hard work and stuff. Was this like, what was your family life like? And what do your parents think about this now, your parents and your brothers? Did that contribute to the type of person that you are today?
Yes and no. Growing up, my brothers are both very competitive. So we were always a sports family, but I guess not even just sports, like games. We'd play a board game and we're all competitive. So the biggest factor for me was, and you probably can easily relate to this, is someone telling me I can't do something. And as 2 older brothers, you can't do this, you can't do that, or, and I'm a girl. So it was like this stigma of you're not ever going to achieve XYZ. So that, in all honesty, if you want to see me reach a goal, tell me I can't do it and I will find a way and I will do it. So that's what has driven me a ton in my life, was just being, challenged to go, no, I can do it. And I didn't always know if I could, but I never wanted to regret not trying. Yeah. So that's kind of always been it. And then, in all reality, the last 10 years have not been easy. There's just been a lot of stuff that has just kind of happened, and I've had to overcome a lot. And that has helped me be who I am. Now, granted, my life compared to so many other people out there who are dealing with craziness, I don't even want to try to like pretend I have a sob story. But my point being, whenever I was hit with something heavy or hard, it was like an instinct in me was like, no, do not let this take you down. You've got to find a way to instantly react positively, find the silver lining, find the lesson in it, and overcome it. And I now joke, my friends and I always joke, we're like, my goodness, you can't go a week or a month without having something crazy happen. And I always joke, I said, this is God's way of being like, you need to teach someone else a lesson out there with how you handle it, or, the way you overcome it. Because I have been labeled the comeback kid for years now because the injuries or all this stuff that's kind of happened. And I'm like that roach that won't die now. You keep trying to smash it and kill it and just won't die. So it's like, I'm always going to keep coming back. Just keep throwing it at me and I'll find a way to overcome it.
I just think that's amazing. So many people are going to be able to learn from this. And if it isn't a mantra that you've adapted already, just to be thankful for the struggles that life gives you, because this is what makes you stronger. I mean, it is, it's the definition of bodybuilding, really. It's that constant, breaking you down to build yourself back up again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For sure. And honestly, I have a book that I'm in process right now, and it goes by the mantra. The title is, it's H2G2, and it's a motto I go by all the time. And it's something that I literally practice every single day. Still not even perfect, but H2G2 stands for you don't have to, you get to. And that mindset shift literally is the most powerful thing. If you're ever having a bad day, whatever it is, you have to take a step back and go, you know what? I don't have to do this. I get to. So whether it's going to the gym, no one's forcing you to do it, but guess what? You have your health that you're able to do it. You can, your body's functioning great. You're able to run, jog, lift. You don't have injuries or ailments. You have the ability to have a gym membership. So it's like, okay, there's that. Or I have to go to work. You're lucky you have a job. You're lucky you have a salary. People would trade positions with you in a heartbeat. So no matter what it is, and it doesn't even mean that you're being negative, but if you just watch your language throughout the day, and if you change every have to that you spit out of your mouth to I get to, it has this positive spin. It takes the negative connotation out of everything. I get to go pick up my kids from school and take them to practice. I get to fire this employee. I mean, as silly as that sounds, guess what? You are lucky that you're in a position where if something's not working well within your company, you have the ability to get rid of somebody and pull somebody better in. There's always a way to change that mindset shift. And when you do that, not only does it change your own perspective, but it does have a ripple effect. And for athletes who compete in this sport, it's even more important because you need that support from your family and friends who aren't annoyed with you that you have this goal, whether it's competing or maybe it's doing a marathon or maybe it's opening up a business. But if you constantly are saying, I have to go to the gym, I have to meal prep, I have to, guess what? You're giving them permission to have a negative mindset about it. If you say, I get to meal prep, I get to go to the gym, I get to stretch out right now, you can change with your own language the way other people perceive it because you're not making it a burden like, oh, someone's forcing you to do this. So for all my athletes, I say, change your language and you're going to have a lot more support from the people closest to you.
Yeah. And life is just so much better when you don't walk through it with a victim mentality. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. And it's not always easy. I know some of my friends laugh and joke and they're like, God, I'm trying to be a more positive person. It's just hard. It takes baby steps. One of my closest friends, I'm like, girl, you are like the most negative person. stop it. Cause she's not, but the way she talks, I'm like, people who don't know you would never get to know you. So, but yeah, it's just, we get in our ways, we get in our routine, we have our language. But if you can change that, I guarantee you will level up, you will be a happier person internally, and the people around you will support you better. They will be happier around you. So it has a tremendous effect, and it's so simple.
Yeah. I think that your friend, she probably, I get this too, because I think I'm a pretty positive person, but I have a couple of people who are safe, and maybe you're her safe person, and that's why you get it.
Yes. And you know what, you've got to have that too, because you have to be able to vent. You've got to be able to get it out. Nobody's perfect. And honestly, I still to this day, every day say have to plenty of times.
Yeah.
But the good thing is people call me out on it, and I'm like, oh, you're right. Yeah, you can't always be on your A game. So, and you do have to have those friends that kind of just, you got to get it out, you got to vent. So it has to happen. And maybe that is. I'm still going to call her out though and try to help her.
So when are the Whitney Jones I Get to t-shirts coming out, huh?
I know, it's because I do have an apparel line. So I have a fitness apparel line called Fearless. And we have not yet done that, the shirts and stuff, but it's already part of it all.
Amazing. I think if I ever got into a pickle, like, a hostage situation or something, you'd be my girl. I'd be like, I want to be stuck there. This is how we're getting out. You just.
Yes. I will find a way. Honestly, there is no stopping me. It'll happen. Count me in.
Incredible. So let's talk a little bit about your diet. You seem to stay pretty lean year round. Is that helpful for are you practicing your routines year round? You're not really in a spot where you have to build a lot more. So you probably aren't doing the bulking and, the bulking and cutting nearly as much. Can you kind of talk us a little bit about off season to prep transition type with your diet?
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a different bird. That's the honest truth. For me, you're right. I'm not trying to build any more muscle. The good thing is I'm older, so I have muscle maturity, whereas some of these younger athletes getting into it, you do have to put in a lot more work because you got to take the time to build that density to your muscle. So for me, it's good. I've never, even 10 years ago when I started, I've never done this rebound thing. I eat fairly well. But I also have seen a lot of people go that route of that rebound. And I know post-show what you do is crucial and really, really important. So that's helped me. But I've also never done extreme dieting like a lot of athletes in the sport have. Because I hate to say it, there's plenty of athletes who post-show, their bodies just rebound horribly, and it's not like they're eating bad, and that kills me because as a female, if your hormones get messed up, you could be eating immaculate, you could be doing everything right, but your hormones from maybe being too extreme with too low of calories and then cardio way too high, it can put your body in a bad position. And the good thing is I've never did that. I never did any extreme dieting where I screwed up my body in that realm. So I'm lucky in that aspect. One thing that's interesting, because for anyone that follows me, I get this all the time. I eat donuts and Oreos almost every day. Like I eat them in prep. It's crazy, I know, but I need to say this disclaimer. It wasn't always like that. When I was an endurance athlete, believe it or not, I could not eat carbs. My stomach would show it within 30 minutes. But as I got into lifting and I built lean muscle mass, my metabolism was like a freaking engine. And my metabolism now, it gets better every year. So that's why I can stay fit year round, is because the lean muscle mass that I've built, I'm not doing crazy cardio all the time. Now, when I get into my prep, it does, there'll be hours a day that I'm doing routine practice, not every day, but I have to increase my calories each week going into show for me, whereas everyone else is decreasing. but it's because of the hours of cardio I'm doing, I would diminish. My body would just eat away at the muscle.
Yeah.
So I'm fortunate in that aspect. Some other fitness girls aren't. They're a standard, athlete who has to cut and be more careful. I just say my best advice is try not to ever go too extreme. It's the worst thing you can do just to step on stage, because guess what? You're going to pay for it. And depending on how bad it is, you may pay for it for 6 months or several years. Some people, it hampers things for the rest of their lives. So as an athlete, if you're ever feeling something is off, if you feel like you are just way low on calories, so far out and doing hours of cardio, there's something wrong. There's always going to be shows. So if you're feeling like you're having to push too hard to make a certain show date, push the show date. It's the best advice I have. You may think at that moment, no, I just want to get on stage, but it's going to be a horrendous mind F, post show going, I pushed way too hard to get to that stage. Yeah. And now I'm not going to be able to compete for 2 years because my body is just so messed up. Yeah. So it's something, as females, we are very trusting in our coaches, and that's the way you should be. But if you ever start kind of questioning it, talk to them or pull back and push your show out, because I would have a hard time being in this sport if I had to diet the way some of these people do. It's not enjoyable. And I realize that their families they're like, get away from me. And, so it's like, I love the sport. I love prep because I'm not in those holes of misery like you see some people.
Yeah. Well, and I think the messages that I'm getting from you and a lot of other women who are, it's like you're healthy and you're living this year round. So you aren't delving into extremes either way, Mm-hmm. And if somebody is going to do a show, even if they're starting, this is something that I've been saying for a long time, you have to be in a healthy starting point,
Absolutely.
A lot of women are dieting for a long time and then they decide they're going to do a show. And it's like, you can't start a prep at 1,400 calories,
Yeah, no way. There's nowhere to pull from. So what happens is your body will stall out and you have to just keep decreasing and decreasing. Wow. And it makes it difficult, and also like these people who are so strict, no cheat meals for 6 months. I am completely against that. Now, granted, I get sweets and I do some donuts, Oreos in the day. The rest of my day, though, I'm eating healthy. So it's not like I'm eating crap and fast food every single meal. So yes, I have some treats, but also like for all the athletes I coach, you have to have a good balance. Having those cheat meals or having some treats built in as part of your plan mentally helps you stay on point because you don't feel so deprived. So it makes a big difference in how you go into the show, how your programming and nutrition is, totally can dictate what's going to happen post-show.
Yeah. Whitney, it sounds like you have an awesome mindset that many women are just learning to adapt. I think especially I'm not sure how old you are, but I'm a
44.
You are, okay, so you're 1 year younger than me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Okay, you are looking amazing, babe. I love it. Nice. Good job.
Thank you. But, we grew up in the 90s and everything was skinny and everything was fat free. And I know. I feel like we're best friends now. I don't know.
Yeah.
We have so
totally right.
But we were taught, and I think even up until the last few years, that like food was good or it was bad. You know what I mean? Yeah. And women demonize foods. And then, it goes back to what you said before. Tell me I can't, and then I want it, right? And it goes food, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Always. And I think that's like a woman's trait, honestly. You tell us we can't have something, that's all we can focus on.
Right. I just love it. I just love you're just living this healthy lifestyle, yet, the top Olympian in the world right now. It's just incredible. Just incredible.
Thank you.
So, So what's next? You know, what's next?
Gosh, it's so for me with the fitness choreography, the one thing I love is obviously like we discussed, I had zero guidance on that aspect going into it. So as I when I became a pro and started doing well, I thought I need to help other people so they don't waste several years trying to just spin their wheels not knowing. So I got into coaching. I coach regular people, lifestyle clients. I coach girls. I only coach females and when it comes to competing, but bikini, wellness, figure, and then of course fitness. So right now, at the beginning of the year is when I book all my choreography clients. So I do the routines, I choreograph the routines for a large amount of the fitness athletes, pro and amateur. So that's all starting now. So in the next couple of weeks, I usually have at least one client in from out of town for about 14 weeks straight. Some weeks there'll be two clients. We bust out all these routines. So that's part of it, getting that going. Obviously now post show, post Olympia, and then I have a show that I do here in Arizona, the Whitney Jones Classic. It's an NPC show that just wrapped up as well. So now I'm going to have a little bit of downtime, vacation through the holidays. Going to take my boys to New York City for Christmas. So yeah, doing some fun stuff, and then just gearing up for next year. I'm not going to do the Arnold Classic, so I know that's in March. So I've got some time to really focus on my clients. I've got to finish this book. It's been there forever. And then just a few other projects that that I have going on. I own 5 businesses. So I'm already kind of like, there's a lot going on, but still I love new projects. I love new opportunities. So there's a lot of things just kind of on the back burner right now that I want to bring to the front and really kind of take advantage of.
So crazy. So I have 2 questions. What are your 5 businesses? And this is a book you're writing?
Yes, yes. Well, it's not me personally, thank goodness, because I'm not the best writer, but it's with a company that I work with, and they do the interviews. So they ask a bunch of the questions and it's storytelling. And then their team that I meet with and do all of these like filmed interviews, they craft the book. So, and then they send it to me and I do all the revisions and everything. So makes the whole process a whole lot easier. Because honestly, if I had to write it myself, it would be 20 years because I would be like, nope, that sentence isn't right. Or, but this is what they do. It's a company. This is what they do for a living. And they help athletes and people write the stories on kind of what it is. Because it's about my own experiences and stuff and overcoming it. So that's that thing that I'm not going to write myself, thank goodness. And then my 5 businesses. So I own a gym here in Arizona. So it's a physical location. We do membership based, anyone can come in. And then I have a staff of trainers and we do all personal training and the boot camp, stuff like that. Then I have an online business. So I have a team of trainers who train clients online. So outside of Arizona, we have a lot of international clients. It's competitors, it's fitness, or just lifestyle athletes. So it's literally everybody. Then I have my fitness apparel line. It's Fearless by Whitney Jones, which is fun apparel for women. It's just for women. Sorry, guys. But, cute like leggings with tops with fun sayings, accessories. And then I have my events production company for Whitney Jones Classic and events that I put on. And then my 5th one was one I launched this year, and it's actually a fitness app. It's A&W Fitness. So it's A_W Fitness. And it's with Alexandria Ross. So anyone that follows me on Instagram would know her because we're 2 crazy chicks doing shenanigans all the time. But it's a fitness app that it has structured programs with exercise demos. So the one thing we found through COVID and trying to create all these workouts for people was if people don't have a trainer they can work with, they're intimidated. Females are intimidated to go to the gym because they don't want to go use that machine because they don't know how to use it. So all of our programs, it's timed out. So you're going to do these exercises. It has modifications. Say your gym doesn't have that piece of equipment, or say you have an injury. So there's modifications with it. It sets it where you know how much time to rest, how many sets you do, how many reps you do. And then, like I said, it has a demo so you can see how to use the equipment, or if it's like a body weight exercise, how to perform it with proper technique so that you can learn and then, just kind of vibe with it. And new programs are launched regularly. So that's the 5th one that I launched this year.
That's amazing. That's super helpful.
Yeah,
so
I
cool.
love it. It's a lot of fun.
Nice. Nice. Well, it sounds like you're crazy busy.
Yeah. Yes. Honestly, it's like if I take something off my plate, I'm like, yay. And then I'm like, oh, let's put something back. I think I don't know how to operate any other way. So, I'm good with it. I'm very, very lucky that I get to do what I love.
Mhm.
So, it's,
Yeah.
as long as I have my 2 happy boys and I'm still making sure I have some downtime, I love new projects. I love new things. So I'm always just grinding and hustling.
Were you ever like in a 9 to 5 type of a job?
Yeah, I was actually. So before I got into the whole fitness world,
Yeah.
I worked for an ad agency and loved it. Did marketing, had some big multi-million dollar accounts that I was part of, loved it.
Yeah.
But what's funny now that I'm a business owner and I work like crazy is in that industry, you could never shut your brain off. And that was hard for me, especially because at that time I didn't have kids yet, but I knew I wanted to have kids. So I was doing that, but it was draining in regards to never being able to shut down, because you're always trying to think of ad concepts or headlines, or it's a creative market.
Yeah.
So I ended up actually, as part of being active as an adult, I started training friends and families and neighbors out of my house. And that's kind of what opened me up to fitness. And long story short, when I was on bed rest with my second son during pregnancy. I had a lot of time to think. And I realized, you know what? I want to do something that impacts and helps people on a daily basis. And I loved training, but I was just doing it for free just because I liked it. So I'm like, I wonder if I could try this and make a career out of it. So after I had my son, I quit my job and took a huge leap of faith and went to the local gym and got a job making minimum wage, going, oh my gosh. The first time I got a paycheck, I was like, what did I do? Oh my gosh, because I had a great job. But in all reality, within that month, I'm like, I know this is the direction I'm supposed to be. And I loved it. So the money wasn't the thing. I'm like, I will, if you're doing things for the right reason and you have passion in your heart, you'll be successful. I firmly believe that. So I'm like, I love it. I need to find a way to make money doing this. And that just kind of started. I just said, don't close your eyes to any opportunities, keep an open mind. I didn't want to be a trainer at a chained big box gym forever, but I needed to have a start. And so that gave me my end so I could then kind of dream big and set my goals. And now here I am.
That's incredible. I think that's such a great message too, that you have to take a leap of faith and start. And if somebody had handed you your life now with your 5 businesses, you would have been like, oh, I can't do this. But when
no chance.
But you took opportunity every time it presented itself and you worked your way up. And I mean, that's just kind of how life is. You put in the time, grab onto the opportunities, and
and it's like there's things that scare you, right? So our natural as a human, sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, this is a cool opportunity, and our brain goes into all the things that could go wrong. Or what if I fail? Or what if and so honestly, I tried to tell myself early on, think of it like someone challenging me to do a backflip. I would never back down from that. I'd find a way to figure out how to do it. So it's like, okay, so if you want to own your own business, I didn't know anything about owning my own business, but I started researching and studying and figuring out, okay, I want to open my own gym. Totally nothing I had any experience doing. But if you educate yourself, you research, you learn, why not? But you have to allow yourself to not let fear sideline you. And so many times, especially women, we allow people to tell us we can't do things. We allow people to put fear into us, even though we may be so excited about an idea. And then someone has this negative thoughts and it's like, oh, okay. So you just kind of got to put your barriers up and have full belief in yourself. And that's why I say, if you're passionate, you won't fail. You won't fail because you're excited about it, but you've got to make sure to keep yourself in a bubble. If any of those people to tell you that you're crazy or you can't do it, let that fuel your fire.
Yeah. I think that's true. You do kind of have to protect your dreams at the beginning so that you can build up that momentum to
Yes, always.
So I'm so curious what your training looks like. I know I don't know what you're doing as far as like routines on a regular basis. What does your training split look like kind of for a week? And how do you incorporate your routine practice as well?
Well, so right now it's post Olympia, and I haven't spoken out a lot about this, but I actually broke my leg the week of Olympia. I didn't know it. I had an injury, which I posted about after the fact, but I thought it was my knee and nobody knew, but I ended up having a fractured leg, and it was my bone that I fractured. So I'm not able to do anything jumping or anything exciting right now. I feel so bored. But the compromise was, my surgeon knows me, obviously I'm always in there. And so I went and had him check, and it wasn't my ACL. And I was like, woo, I'm good. He's like, no, you need to be in crutches and a boot. And I was like, I'm like, I don't have time for that. I had appearances to do. I had my show, traveling. I'm like, no. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I've been walking on it for a week and a half. I'm fine. I saw where the break was. And again, people do not do as I do. They just do as I say. But I'm supposed to be in a boot and crutches, and I won't do it. But whatever. I'm a bad patient. So right now I'm not doing much of anything except light lifting, and it's almost all upper body. But in reality, for like a grand scheme of things, for like during the year, if I wasn't injured and I was just off season, I would still keep up my lifting. And as a fitness athlete now, I like to do HIIT circuits. You got to keep your endurance up year round, because those routines are intense. It's like, you see it. You can't just prep to get your endurance up for a fitness routine at this level for 16 weeks. You need to keep your endurance year round. So I like to do HIIT circuits. I do lifting. I don't lift any lower body. I have huge quads just genetically. So I do not lift legs. I never have. It obviously gets worked with routine practice with jumps and flips and stuff, but I never sit and train quads and squats. And if you see it on Instagram, it's because I had to post it for one of my sponsors and do workout stuff. But I'll train glutes, but I don't train legs. So for me, it's all upper body. So I'll do upper body, like 2 shoulder days a week, 2 back days a week. And then the rest, it's more HIIT circuits or abs and stuff like that. And then skills wise, I'm practicing skills at least once a week, sometimes twice during the off season, just to learn new stuff. And then as my show gets closer and I'm putting my routine together, it's actually hours of routine practice a couple times a week, in addition to my cardio I do and then my workouts.
That's so crazy. I was just thinking, imagine how huge your legs would get if you did actually train them.
Mm-hmm. What's funny is last year, so in earlier this year, just for fun, I'm like, you know what, whatever. I'm going to train quads. So we did a normal, my trainer and I went through a workout and did a full-blown leg workout. It was the first time I've ever done that since, I obviously trained legs in like early college years, but it was like, this is so fun. But my legs were swollen for a solid week. I looked like tree trunks. And it's like, there's no way. My legs would be huge, definite wellness legs, easily. Just wrong division, Whitney.
Maybe if you ever get to that point where you're not doing the fitness anymore, then you can put the heels on and do wellness.
Totally, right? Hey, just train legs a little bit. I would always get knocked every time I got judges' feedback. They'd say, you got to stop training legs, because my upper body's always been smaller. So my legs were overpowering.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't train legs. I don't know how to avoid it. So yeah, it's definitely something that if I were to train it, they would be big.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet you that has a lot to do with your background with cheer and yeah, that's a lot of
And
jump.
even, yeah, it is. And my brothers both have major quads, and my oldest son, huge quads. So, there is a lot that goes into that with genetics, but then, yeah, growing up playing every sport I possibly could,
Yeah.
of course, it's so much of that as a female growing up is lower body.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, do you have time for a couple of quick fun questions, more fun questions?
Always.
All
Oh
right.
my gosh, always.
All right. It's funny because I usually ask people if they ever cheated on a prep, but your diet is a mix all the way up until the end.
Yeah, and I do flexible dieting. So yeah, I get lots of cheats. Sorry.
I think that's the most amazing message though, that I think that people, because I bet you're so chill about it. You're not stressed about your diet at all. And you're not doing
Totally.
extremes.
Yes. It's the best advice I have. Now, honestly, early on,
Yeah.
I ate very clean for a good solid 2 years, still had cheat meals and stuff like that, but it's not like I was eating donuts then. No way. So I had to get my body acclimated to going, okay, you're eating clean. And then as I built up lean muscle mass slowly but surely, my metabolism just started rolling. And then it was like, I'd eat a donut and it would have no impact on me. And it's like, oh, I like this. So yeah, it's just a process.
When you bounce back and forth too between, because sometimes I'm not saying even that people necessarily will binge, but they'll eat more junk food instead of kind of deviating from their diet. And then your body is like, what is this food? And you get really sick off of it too, So
Right. Yes. Yeah,
yeah,
because your body is so used to not having anything that it can't handle it when you finally do introduce it.
yeah. That's so crazy. I hope that's like that's the biggest takeaway. I just think that's so, to have a healthy food relationship and then
Yes.
so
Yep.
awesome. What is the best and the worst thing about prep? Do you have any thoughts on that?
The worst is the injuries, without question. With the fitness division, we're all broken, honestly. On stage, we're all broken. So that's the worst part. The best part is, gosh, I just got chills. I love that I keep my routines under wraps and nobody knows until the show.
Yeah.
I love that no matter what, I don't care what the judges think. I want to step off stage and love what I just presented. I want to step on stage and, people would get excited. They're like, oh, I always look forward to your routines because you do some weird, crazy stuff. And I love that. I love that I get to entertain. And I have those 2 moments to capture their attention and show some fun stuff that maybe they think is totally not even possible and kind of wow them. I love that. I think it is the funnest, most important thing for me as an athlete. So that's what I love, because you can't worry about the outcome. You can't let judges validate your hard work and your effort. I love that I get to go out there and show something creative that means something to me, that I can perform the way I want, and I get to step off stage and go, yeah, I did it. That's my favorite.
So great. Again, it's such a great message too, just about being passionate, and then they're going to do whatever they're going to do. You present what you want to do. So,
and you got to be proud of yourself no matter what. There's so many athletes I see right before they step on stage, they are so proud of what they've accomplished, and they step off the opposite side after call outs devastated. And it's like, wait, you were just talking about how many cool things you lost this much weight, you had willpower you never thought you had, you got in your routine, you're disciplined, you're so proud of yourself. And now, because you didn't get first call out, all of that is gone. I'm like, no, like I try to preach with all my clients, like you need to feel like a winner before you hit the stage. And no matter what happens, you need to still walk off that stage feeling proud of yourself and happy.
Yeah.
It's a subjective sport. You have to know that going in, and you cannot let that outcome change your viewpoint. Yeah, we always want to work for the better, but it doesn't matter. I've won Olympia. I've won it 3 times. There is still work to be done with my physique, with my routines. The work never stops. So whether you're at the top, you're at the bottom, or you're in the middle, there's always room for improvement. Just roll with that, but never discredit yourself based on a placing.
Yeah. Yeah. Or let somebody else determine how you feel about yourself.
Yes, exactly. It's the worst thing.
All right. If you, let's see. What's your biggest gym pet peeve?
I I wouldn't say pet peeve because I think it's hilarious. I love to see those gym fails where people are using equipment totally wrong. It makes, I mean, I'm the one who laughs inappropriately at all the wrong times. So I love that stuff. I just feel like I never get to see it in person. So that's people's pet peeve. It's totally not mine. I don't know. My biggest pet peeve, I'd say, is rudeness in the gym. Like, even if you're the owner of the gym, you still should not just be rude, hogging equipment, being a slob, stuff like that. Just basic manners, I feel like, is missing a lot these days. So that would probably be it. Just inconsiderate, sitting on the machine, texting while everyone is waiting during prime time. Stuff like that. It's just kind of common sense manners.
Yeah. Because we're sharing space.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't it funny how if you have someone who's on a machine and they're texting or whatever, if you ask them how many sets they have left, they don't rest as long in between.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
yes.
remind them that somebody else is waiting. And then
yeah, which is good, and that's not rude to say, hey, just a reminder. So nope.
Right. What kind of music do you like to listen to?
Oh, wow. I have the most random eclectic mix. I can go from Too Short, like just crazy rap, hip hop, to Frozen, and then hit country. Like, I'm all over the board. I like it all as long as I like energy.
Yeah.
Most of my routines are all hip hop based. If I'm training in the gym, it's rap and hip hop. If I'm like kind of in more of a chill mood, sometimes country or like Jack Johnson, like vacation style. I like it all. I like the sentimental Walt Disney, the Frozen song. Like, my playlist, people laugh because I'll put it on random, and it is random. Whoa. But hey, you never know what you're going to get. That's like the surprise just waiting for you. Can you imagine going from one day this happened in the gym? It was Too Short, switched to Frozen. And that's why I brought those up, because it was such a total end of the spectrum. I'm like, oh, wow, that was rough. That was a rough switch.
What do you think your theme song would be if you had a theme song every time you walked into the room? Do you know?
Oh, gosh, that's a great question. Something that's either goofy as hell, because that is me, or something that's like kind of like a badass, like unstoppable. Even though that's more like my stage persona and my internal persona in regards to like just trying to just do amazing things and overcome things. But I don't know. If I had to pick right now, I would probably say my theme song is that song "Happy" by Pharrell Williams, because I'm happy. Because I am always happy. So that kind of would probably be the one that sums me up at the moment.
That's awesome. I think you know that song "Unstoppable" by Sia? Have you heard?
Yeah, yes. I love that. Uh-huh.
You are unstoppable. I think that's what you are.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that compliment.
Do you guys have any pets?
Uh-huh. We've got 2 dogs. So one is a rescue. She's a Wheaton Terrier, and her name's Daisy. And then a Frenchie named Lou Dog.
Nice. Nice.
I love pups.
What is your preference? Heels or sneakers?
Definitely sneakers. I love heels. I love the way they look. But with as many times, I've broken one ankle 5 times and the other 6. So my ankles hate heels. They hate them. But I love, like, I mean, it makes you just look, it makes your legs look so much better.
Yeah.
But definitely prefer sneakers.
You need sneakers. You need sneakers for your go, go, go lifestyle.
Totally. Because even so, I run. You know what's crazy is even at Olympia. So I have this, I didn't know it was broken, like I said, but I knew something was wrong. When they announced me in the winter and there's a photo, I jumped in my heels. And it's one of my most favorite photos. But my surgeon was like, when I went in, he was like, what is this? I'm like, I know. He's like, come on. He's like, didn't you know it was hurting? I'm like, well, yeah, but you don't think about your pain when you're excited. And so I'm always jumping, and I am known to run in heels, which is probably why I've broken my ankles so many times.
What bone is broken right now in your leg? Which one is broken?
The tibia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. And it's right up here, like right by the knee, right underneath it.
Which is
So that's
why
why I thought it was my knee. Because my knee, I mean, it was huge. It like exploded, the swelling, instant bruising all the way down the leg. It was rad. Yeah.
Can you quick list off all the things that have been broken, the surgeries?
Yeah. So gosh, okay. So ankles, obviously broken those. I've had stress fractures in both shins. I've had ACL surgery, MCL surgery, meniscus surgery. I've broken both elbows. I've detached muscle from the hip and had a hairline fracture in the hip. I've had 5 back injuries, broke my neck, 3 shoulder surgeries, wrist 3 times or 4 times, 3 times, broke every toe, every finger, multiple times, arm. I'm sure I'm forgetting more. Yeah, literally everything.
Oh, that's so crazy. You know, if you ever get captured and somebody's going to torture you, you're going to be like,
good luck. Totally. The good thing is I've had very high pain tolerance at this point in my life. So you're right. I'll be the one to volunteer to be tortured because I could probably hang the longest. I'm like, that's all you got? Another reason why you need me in there with the bank robber.
totally.
I'll take one for the team on that too.
Oh, you're amazing. You are amazing. What is your favorite and least favorite thing about social media?
I have a lot of things I don't like about it. The biggest thing I don't like is I'm glad we didn't have it growing up.
Yes.
Because the bullying, like it infuriates me to see what people are doing to these young ones. Like as an adult, granted, we have thicker skin. Yeah. At the impressionable ages of junior high and high school, like it makes me tear up. I get so mad at these people who are so ruthless and rude, and also just putting out in their life like everything is perfect and the filters. And so for these, especially, you know, obviously I relate with women, you strive for perfection. And when you see your friends and they look gorgeous, your self-esteem is shot. And then you get these bullying comments. I hate social media that you have all this evilness that hides and just can say or do whatever they want. And then I hate that this is the perception of reality for so many young people, is this perfect life, perfect world. That's what I don't like about social media. The other aspect of it is for some people, and like I have a little bit of a platform there. I'm not like a freaking celebrity, but I love that I can call this stuff out and be like, quit being a bully or quit thinking this is reality. And I swear those times that I do those posts, those are the most like highest rated, most liked, most shared, because it needs to be said. I mean, I love that we have the ability to share a lot of our lives, but people aren't always real, and they only show the glimmer and, you know, the perfection. I am a goofy person. I love shenanigans. I try to show my true personality on it.
Right.
I want to be someone where if you see me on Instagram and then you meet me in person, you are not shocked. It's exactly the same. And so that's where it has good and bad. People use it for a lot of wrong reasons, but more importantly, I just hate that it is shaping our younger culture in a hard way. It is a hard thing. Those years are hard, and having all these external factors, I can't imagine. I'm just so glad they didn't have it when we grew up.
Yeah, it's really tough. I go back and forth too with, I mean, my daughter is 16 and trying to figure out, it's tough because it's like, you have to say like, hey, put the phone down. Cause she'll,
Yes.
they love watching, and it's not like, I don't think she doesn't have a lot of issues as far as, I know she's a very well-rounded kid, but, they'll watch, reels, and it's, puppies and kitties and everything. And it's, if you don't tell them to put their phone down, they will just keep, and it's just like, you can't be they're constantly needing to be stimulated. It's
it does make it tough because, and like you said, it's so many of these kids, this is their socialization.
Yes.
They're not used to talking. So then you put them in a real environment and they're silent because they're not used to having to have an actual verbal conversation. Only thing they do is text, Snapchat, watch TikTok, comment on stuff. So it's stifling them from being well-rounded. So it is tough to try to put the parameters on it. But honestly, as parents, we have to.
Yeah. And it's like, you want to remove them from that world, but this is the world they're living in. It's a digital, technical world. So it's like, they can almost argue, I don't really need to have those social skills. They're almost going to be obsolete in 20 years, but it's like, I can't even have eye contact with a teenager. When I talk to them, they don't even know, what to say or anything. It's it's hard. It's very difficult being a parent. I mean, I grew up on a farm. I just remember like leaving in the morning and being gone all day.
Yes.
Like
work. It will work,
go play outside. And it's just, it's really tough. It's tough.
Oh yeah.
What do you, you said, but you love being able to call people out on it. That's what you love about social media.
Yeah, I do. Yes. And it's been great, honestly, for my businesses. It's an awesome opportunity because, again, coming from the ad agency world, knowing that that's the way businesses got clients and it was huge investment. Social media is free for the most part. And it's helped me build all my businesses. So I'm grateful for that, for sure.
Yeah. I think there's a weird, this is just mine, but I think there's this weird element of, how with Instagram, you have to have a picture, like if you want to say something. And I hate that people don't read what you write. And like, they're always just like, especially men, they're like, oh, you're beautiful. I'm like, I don't give a shit if you think I'm beautiful.
I'm not fishing for compliments here. Yes.
Like, there has to be a picture that goes
right.
Like,
right. Exactly. Yes. So true.
So funny. Oh my goodness. Well, my last question is, who would you like to see interviewed on the podcast? Who do you think women could benefit from?
Ooh, that's a great question. One person that I truly admire is Brina Martinez. She's an IFBB bikini pro. I like her mindset, her drive. She's super, super interesting. That's someone I would say that would be a good person to reach out to. Jennifer Dory, she's the one who just won, Bikini Olympia. She's someone she's just a down to earth, fun chick too. And just with her experiences and her life.
Good.
Trying to think of, obviously the title holders, that's kind of an obvious thing, but they're pretty rad chicks. I really like all of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Oh, that's great. You're going to help me get those interviews, right?
Yeah. Hey, whatever I can do. Absolutely. I'm in. I'm in.
So awesome. So oh my gosh, this was such a great interview. If there's anything else that you want to leave women as far as a takeaway, what would your final message be?
My final message, just from my own experience, is kind of summarizing what we talked about, not allowing anyone to sideline your hopes, your dreams, your goals. If it's something you're excited about, there's a reason you're excited. There's something that gives you the butterflies or the chills. Follow that instinct. There's a reason, and you need to discover it. And allow any negativity, you've got to push it away. Do whatever you build the barriers, however you need to. Do your research. Use anyone who doubts you, use that fuel as fire, and just go achieve things that you never thought possible. I always say, if you tell someone your dreams and they tell you you're crazy, you're onto something. So go in that direction, but just live life without regret. Live life fearlessly. That's where my clothing line came from, is just trying to do everything without fear of failure, without fear of judgment, without fear of some people trying to kind of tell me everything I'm doing is wrong or take control of it. You can't lead with fear. So never have that regret. It's just kind of really, as women, and especially moms, there's that stigma for years that, oh, once you have kids, your life's kind of over and this is your role, and so much for having a career or achieving anything you want in life. That's BS. Like, that's old time thinking. And now it's like, use this opportunity. We live in America. Hello, we are so lucky. Go after whatever. And if you fail, learn a lesson from it and try again. So I just love to encourage women to, whatever it is that's in your heart right now. We all have something that, like, I wish I could. Stop wishing and just do.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. So where can women get a hold of you if they're looking to either follow you or contact you?
So I have a website, fitwitjones.com. You can message or at least learn about any of the stuff there. Most are finding me on Instagram. You can obviously send me a DM. I also, in my bio, have a link tree to a lot of the other businesses, like the apparel line or the app, stuff like that. And my Instagram name is Whitney Jones _IFBB Pro. So those are probably the two easiest ways to reach me.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, Whitney, thank you so much for your time. You're even more incredible. This has been such a pleasure.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. I love this.
Yeah, so great. Well, you can find me on Instagram at buffcake22. You can follow the podcast at the Women's Fittest, and you can find this on all kinds of different platforms, wherever you listen to podcasts. And just to remember that healthy looks different on everybody. Have a great day.
Love it.